Welcome back. Now, I've got a question for you. Who were the Maya? No, not who is Maya. Who were the Maya, the vast and extant civilization of tribal groups native to the pre-Columbian Americas? While I'm sure, unless you're an expert in your field, or relatively brushed up with all the facts and purposely knowledgeable, you will have little to no idea. And that's a result of, well, probably your learning institution, if I'm honest. You know, you Americans. Luckily, I'm here to put it very briefly and simply for you. I'll explain it all in this video. Now, reasonable caution before we get underway, I am in no way an expert. I am but a simple, inquisitive mind with a reasonable grasp on the topic. Well, that is, I've done at least a considerable amount of ethical research into the subject to be able to make such a video as this. So take what I discussed today with a grain of salt, as part of your average, healthy, content-binging diet on this platform. So, with that out of the way, without further ado, let us get on into the video as we've just hit the 1 minute mark. Simply put, Mayan civilization was the extensive tribes that occupied the overwhelming majority of the northwestern part and inner portions of the Isthmus of Central America, extending from Chiapas to Yucatán, and what is now recognized as, or is supplemented by, southern Mexico, that is, the regions through Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, El Salvador, and into Nicaragua. Mayan culture is rich, individualized, and interwoven into the tapestry of the lands they inhabited. Nicknamed the Apocalypto Civilization for their prophecy-infused astronomical end times predictions, you've probably heard of the Mayan calendar, a lucrative calendrical system said to have been gifted onto the Maya by the deity Itz'Anamna, and that was in popular usage within pre-Columbian Mesoamerica since at least the 5th century BCE. Yes, that's right, you heard me right. This calendrical system was frequented at the same time Athens and Sparta were quarreling like little squirrels over land dominance. And it's still in use today throughout the Guatemalan highlands. The calendar round, a combination of the 260-day count known as the Tzolk'in and the 365-day solar year referred to as the Hab, is still practiced to this day. But that is just the beginning of this civilization's unmistakably tall cultural pike. There are vast temples and other burial sites and archaeological sites strewn all throughout Central America, all of which have their own intrepid and interesting story to tell regarding the Mayans and their forever intriguing way of life. They resided in individualized tribes and ethnic groups, not completely isolated from each other, but definitely individualized, plotted throughout a vast and dense natural forest barrier, to which minor city-states and other communities formed. The Mayans dotted a large subsection of the Central American plains. Now, while Mayan culture is vast, don't be mistaken. While they were one of the most endemically influential and developed civilizations of their time, they were nothing like they are depicted in popular media. Take Mel Gibson's 2006 action history flick, Apocalypto, for example, a film which is either intentionally or unintentionally, while a good watch, a dumpster fire for historic filmmaking. In no way, shape, or form were the Mayans as devastatingly primitive and almost caveman-like as they are portrayed in that movie. Perhaps the snide way the capturers are seen brutalizing and carelessly sacrificing a fellow tribe, or the bustling congregations flooding the freshly painted templescapes is ludicrous. For one thing, such temples and ritual spaces would have been constructed centuries, if not a millennia prior to this film's dating. This was the peak of the Mayan civilization after all. Secondly, ritual sacrifice wasn't all too commonplace for the Maya. While we have evidence of human sacrifice by the Mayans, most of it is inconsequential and is largely dated back to the beginning of the Spanish conquistadors' colonization of Mesoamerica. Ritual sacrifice, after all, is a much more Aztec practice. But as most accounts of this sacrifice is of Spanish origin, obviously all evidence is largely prone to a conqueror's bias, so to speak. That is, however, not at all nullifying the fact that there was very truly ritual sacrifice done by the hands of the Maya. There is in fact sculptures, such as the famous one at the Great Ball Court at Chichen Itza, which depicts ritualistic human sacrifice via decapitation. But as aforementioned, there's plenty of stories that have come out of Spanish diaries during the colonization. Even as early as 1511, at the beginning of the colonization, when the Spanish caravel, the Santa Maria de la Bassa, failed to sail for St. Domingo under Captain Pedro de Valdivia, sinking somewhere in Jamaica, where the surviving crew sailed in nothing but all boats adrift in the ocean when they finally touched shores in Yucatán, Mayan territory, some 13 days later. The remaining crew, after being captured by the Mayan Great Lord at the time, or Halak Unique, alongside Valdivia, had their flesh served at a great feast after ritual sacrifice to the gods. Ritual sacrifice was generally uncommon in Mayan culture, and numbers, which average at about 10,000 sacrifices throughout extensive Mayan history, hardly compare to those of their Aztec counterparts. However, it cannot be denied that the Mayans did participate in human sacrifice. The end of the ancient Mayan civilization was abrupt, but inevitable. In the coming years of foreign discovery, an apotheosis of harsh trade restrictions, infighting, and conflicts with the collapsing Aztec Empire, as well as the sudden arrival of the Spanish, which brought upon innumerable problems, such as foreign disease in the systems of the supposed New World Order, which ravaged the lands, culminated in devastating effects for the Maya. Those who did survive the onslaught of never-before-seen airborne illnesses, and especially viruses such as smallpox, flu, and measles, the same ones that are said to have killed off the Aztecs, awoke to a new world, one where they were no longer in control of, and slowly, even those rural, isolated tribes situated in the dense forest regions of the Mayan territory had their lives claimed by unstoppable disease. While the descendants of the Maya still live on today, much of Mayan culture, history, and faith has been lost to time, torn off the pages, or stone slabs for this matter, of the Mayan calendar itself. This video, which is rather short and to the point, should be evidence enough of that. No, but all jokes aside, this was just a brief introduction to the Mayan peoples. If this is a topic that you'd be interested in seeing more content regarding in the future from me, please let me know with a like, a comment, and or subscribe to encourage me to produce more videos just like this one. I wouldn't mind producing an in-depth study on a particular aspect of Mayan culture, lifestyle, and anything and everything in between. So if you'd like that, please let me know. Thank you, and I will see you next time, whenever and for whatever we shall meet.